Hello everyone, welcome to Psych, and today I'm going to be talking about INFJs and ISFJs, and particularly their auxiliary extroverted feeling. When I talk about INTJs, I often refer to their extroverted thinking, their auxiliary function, as a tool function or something that they use to support their introverted intuition. So INFJs will occasionally ask me, well, what does having auxiliary extroverted feeling look like, and how is that a tool for the INFJs? So I want to talk about the slight differences in how I would frame and view this function for an INFJ compared to extroverted thinking for an INTJ. Let's get into it. Now, while it's usually INFJs who ask me this type of question more often because there's way more INFJs in the type community than I find there are ISFJs, everything that I say here is going to apply very similarly to ISFJs because their extroverted feeling is in the same slot. So how does extroverted feeling differ from extroverted thinking in INTJs and ISTJs even? And, the similar thing, let's talk about the similarities first. The similarities here is that they're going to be supporting the dominant function. So extroverted feeling is always going to be kind of subservient to that dominant introverted intuition. And the way that I like to explain the auxiliary function in these types is that think of your dominant function as pointing north on a compass. So it's pointing straight up, and that's your true north. It's the right direction for you to go as an individual. Now, think of thinking and feeling in this case for these types to be east and west. And what these auxiliary functions are going to do, say if you're an INTJ versus an INFJ, is it's going to be pointing the compass a little bit away from north. It's kind of like the flavor of your introverted intuition. So instead of pointing straight north, it might point, east towards thinking or west towards feeling. And that's going to be your new direction. Your introverted intuition is going to have that flavor to it. So it's thinking flavored intuition or feeling flavored intuition, which is going to really differentiate how that shows in your goals, desires, and the things you want in life. So when we look at an INTJ, for example, we can often see that their introverted intuition goals are usually in the realm of thinking. For example, a lot of INTJs end up in the sciences or these types of things, and they reach their goals through using extroverted thinking as their style of processing to kind of achieve the things that they need to achieve. They'll work as hard as they can, they'll systemize their work, these sorts of things. Now, INFJs and ISFJs, on the other hand, when they have their introverted perception value or goal to them, say they want to achieve something in life that's valuable to them through introverted intuition or introverted sensing, you'll often find that extroverted feeling is going to be employed to kind of help with this, but also it's going to be flavoring the introverted intuition. Most INFJs and ISFJs are going to have people-focused goals or something in the realm of just being generally pro-social. INFJs and ISFJs will start to process information in an extroverted feeling type of way when they feel like it's going to help them reach their introverted perception goal. So what does this look like? Well, a lot of the times it's going to be the INFJ or the ISFJ easily getting along with other people, making friends or joining communities that are very close to what they want to do in life. They're essentially going to try to put themselves in some sort of social environment that supports the things that they want in life. Whereas extroverted thinking and introverted feeling types like the NTJs and the STJs often feel like they are kind of these loner individuals who want to achieve things as much as possible by themselves. They don't seek out others or social communities to help them if possible. You'll often find it's the opposite for NFJs or SFJs, where they're going to want to kind of seek that social sphere that's related to what they want. They're okay and comfortable with interacting with people, and they might even find themselves in places where they're going to be organizing other individuals so they can come together and accomplish these things that they want to accomplish. It's also critically important to remember that when you're talking about extroverted feeling, especially as an auxiliary function, that it is inherently linked to introverted thinking. They are two parts of the same piece, essentially. You cannot have one without the other. So one thing that I like to remind INFJs and ISFJs about is that your extroverted feeling is not going to be fully employed if it doesn't have some sort of introverted thinking interest in whatever it is that you're learning, discussing, or attempting to do. So it's the same with INTJs and ISTJs when it comes to their introverted feeling. If introverted feeling isn't motivated, then extroverted thinking isn't going to work nearly as hard with these types. Whereas ENTJs can ignore introverted feeling and just do the things that they need to do with no need for feedback from introverted feeling, these types need that feedback from that tertiary function. So I often find that INFJs and ISFJs often have a great capacity and interest in intellectual topics. One of the most common fields for ISFJs is nursing, and nursing requires a whole lot of introverted thinking understanding of how the body works, how these things interact with each other, these sorts of things. And INFJs can be in these sorts of fields too, but you'll often find that ISFJs in particular really thrive in this very physical helping field where they can pay attention to the details with their introverted sensing. They can employ introverted thinking because it's a very complex field. Nursing requires a lot of knowledge. You have to go through a lot of school and stuff. But it's also going to be FE motivated. They're going to be working in a people field. And this is why this is often a great and almost perfect field for this particular type, because it allows them to employ all of their happy, healthy functions in a way that's going to be using them without stressing them out, essentially. I often refer to the ISFJ and the INFJ types as the silent healer types, and this is because they greatly value extroverted feeling as an auxiliary function, but because it's not the dominant function, it's not the thing that defines their personality. The difference is that for these two types, the thing that defines their personality is often the goals associated with the extroverted feeling. So say, for example, let's look at the ISFJ again. If they are helping someone, say they're in a nursing position and they're nursing someone back to health, getting them back to health and, completing that thing is the most important aspect to them, making sure that this person is happy, healthy, these sorts of things. The actual social process of it, interacting with them, seeing them smile, these things are nice, but it's not the primary motivator, and that's the difference. And it's maybe hard to even see this difference because it's so slight and so subtle. But for the INFJ and the ISFJ, it's the ending that is more important than the process because they're introverted perceiving dominant types. Now, as I talk about the idea of silent healers, yes, ISFJs are usually going to end up more in the physical kind of healing sense. This is why they end up as nurses very often. It's because they are good at working with people in a very physical sense. But this is often why INFJs also end up as psychologists or people who are going to be more so spiritual healers, people who want to work in a more abstract sense. And they're going to have that same style of helping when it comes to people in that more abstract sense. They want to help them maybe improve their mood, their emotions, their mental health, these types of things. To kind of summarize the points of this video, I think that for IFJ types, extroverted feeling is not going to be something that they see as a tool in the same way that ITJs often view their extroverted thinking. As a thinking type, it's very easy for me to look at extroverted thinking and say, yes, it's the thing that helps me get what I want out of life, and therefore it is a tool. But I think for IFJ types, they're more likely to view that extroverted feeling function as a motivator, a direction in life, this type of thing. And for them, it's going to be almost even more natural for it to be employed as something that is less of a tool because it involves other people. Extroverted thinking is something that's more easily usable on your own as an individual. It's something that you can process information without other people in the picture. Whereas with extroverted feeling, it's hard to process information through extroverted feeling without having others being involved in that mental calculation. So if you enjoyed this discussion on extroverted feeling, ISFJs and INFJs, let me know down in the comment section below. I think that this was an interesting topic. Other than that, I would like to remind people that I do have personality typing sessions available at my website, asurapsych.com, if you're interested in working with me to find out what your personality type is and what that means for you. This has been Asura from Asura Psych. Have a good one.